I sometimes wonder as to why our world is so just messed up when it comes to food and why so many women in particular are really suffering with their relationship with food. And then I scroll on Instagram and I see shenanigans happen and I'm like, this is why. Today, we are going to be talking about Drew Barrymore and the ridiculous thing that she posted the other day of her salad pizza. So I'm just gonna go ahead and play it and then I'm gonna say my 2 cents about this. So here is what Drew Barrymore posted the other day. Now, first off, before I say something, I would love for you guys to go down in the comment section and say what you need to say here. How did this make you feel? How did this impact you? What do you think when you watch these type of things? Are you kind of driven crazy, or are you intrigued by it? Ooh, okay, maybe this is what I should be doing. Or do you feel that that need of oh, now I have to do this, right? I'm really curious if you guys just have some thoughts, if you want to just jot that down below, and then I'm going to share mine.
If you're having a day where you're trying to not eat the bread, I'm sure people are gonna be like, how dare you do this to a pizza? I get it. I feel really guilty about it myself. But I just take the top of the pizza and a little salad, which has basically all the same toppings as the pizza. And then I make a pizza salad. Salad. Look, and then I just kind of mix up, and then it's actually really crunchy and delicious.
Screw them. That looks
And
yeah, true.
you get the satisfaction of eating a pizza, but it maybe if you're gluten intolerant. Pizza salad.
Okay, so I look at this stuff and I'm like, this is why I have a job, unfortunately, right? I would love to, I love what I do, but to be honest, it's sad to see so many girls who come to me and they have these crazy notions about food and these crazy diet plans and things like that. And it's just where are you coming up with this stuff? And it's here. So the thing that drives me insane is that this little video that she posted, and actually how I found out about this was via 50 other news outlets and Instagrammers and other people and stuff who were talking about it, i.e. here she is, a woman of influence who posts something like this, and then look how it just can quickly spread. And it's just spreading the wrong message, and let's talk about that here. Okay, so first off, this is ridiculous on so many levels, and I just don't understand how Drew doesn't see that. So first off, the thing that kind of irks me here is the fact that she buys a whole big pizza and then she's only gonna eat 50% of it. Or you know what, it's probably even really just 30% of it. The bread is the pizza. That's what it is. I think it's so ridiculous, this idea of if you're not trying to eat the bread, we need to demonize bread. We need to demonize carbs. I'm carbs are so radically important in your body. Do these celebrities not understand that your fuel source is actually carbohydrates? That your brain runs off of a ton of carbs? That every single cell in your body needs this glucose? Common biology and understanding here would tell you that hey, we shouldn't just be not eating carbs at all and eliminating it. And I know the keto people are now going to attack me and go, but you can work on ketones. I'm let's pause and think about this for a second. Is that your body's preferred fuel source? No. Anytime that you give your body carbs and fats, your body is going to choose to run off of carbohydrates over the fats, okay? Keto diet was made for children with epilepsy, okay? It is not made for the general population to be now adopting and just cutting out all carbohydrates. that has so many cons to it that I'll just have to create a whole nother video. But if you are wanting to dive into just like understanding food, your metabolism, how to get your period back, and how to eat in a way that's going to maintain regular cycles, you can always join my course, Get Your Flow On. That will take you through the whole understandings of all of this on a deeper level. But okay, so we have that where it's like, okay, first off, she's like demonizing carbohydrates. I'm like, let's stop with that. That was so 1990s, early 2000s when we demonized carbs. We're done with that now. Let's have carbs in our life and not be afraid of them. But anyway, so she scrapes the cheese and the topping off of the pizza to put on top of this like iceberg salad lettuce. Why get a pizza? This is like my whole big thing here is like, why get a pizza? Why not order just like stir-fried veggies and put some cheese on it? Like, put some cheese on your salad. Like, you don't need to order a whole pizza, waste all of that food. Like, that's such a waste. And then just like slide it off. And then at the end, and this is what I literally was like, oh my gosh, like, you don't understand. She's like, so if you're gluten-free, like if you're allergic to gluten, you just slide it off. I'm like, do you not understand gluten intolerance? Like, you can't just slide something off of a like of just like this basket of wheat and just like expect that not to be cross-contaminated, right? So it's like someone who is truly celiac, like I have friends in my life who are truly like anaphylactically like allergic to gluten, right? They can't scrape things off of pizza and eat that without like literally getting severely sick and ill. I had one of my cousins, she is celiac as well, and I remember we were at this Moroccan restaurant and we were kind of just like all sharing food and everything, but she had to be really careful and only eat her, you know, gluten-free stuff. But in the whole process of the dinner, as things were kind of just like being shared around, what happened is someone took a drink of her water and a little bit of like couscous got into the water, and she drank her water and she had a whole like reaction, right? She was in bed for like days with how ill she felt, and that was just from having like one little grain of couscous just get into her water. So Drew, just FYI, if someone's truly allergic to gluten, sliding all the toppings off of the pizza is not going to be an option for them. Secondly, it's like, again, it's like this idea of like, why is pizza bad? Why is pizza bad? It's carbohydrates, which our body needs. It's bread, which stop demonizing bread. It's like so funny when I go over to Europe and it's like, everyone's eating bread at like, you know, every single meal. Like when I'm with my French family, we have bread for breakfast. We have bread, you know, as a side for lunch. We have bread as a snack. We have bread with dinner. We have bread and cheese after dinner. It's like, there's so much bread, and it's so interesting to me when I like go over to France and hang out with my French family, that like they don't see bread as this bad thing, but all of a sudden I come to America and I'm like now eating with friends, and it's just all of a sudden everyone's paranoid about this bread thing because it's going to quote unquote make them fat. And I'm like, really? That's a really interesting thing to say, when in reality, when we look at a lot of countries, again, like France, who eat a lot of like bread products, their, you know, obesity levels are way down. And plus, we got to keep in mind that like obesity levels started really rising here in just the last like couple decades. And we've been eating bread for quite a long time. Nearly every single like culture and civilization has had some form of bread. Think about it. India, it's naan bread. If you go to France, it's the baguette. If you do Switzerland, it's the rye bread. If you do, I'm trying to like, if you do Germany, it's pretzels. Like we all have these like wheat products, and we've been eating them for such a long time, and obesity hasn't become a problem until the last just a couple decades. So it's like, okay, is it the wheat? And I understand there can be way of processing wheat, there can be the glyphosate, there can be like that type of stuff, right? And so buying organic, buying sourdough, buying those type of things can really help us with the digestion process of the wheat. But what I'm trying to say is that we have this mentality of, you know, the bread is going to be what makes you gain weight. And it's like, I like to see things in a different way. I like to see it from a metabolic perspective. So metabolically, if we're looking at the bread, the carbohydrates, I see that as a fuel source for your body to now have a strong metabolism, because if we, say eliminate carbohydrates and get our blood sugar off all balance, what's gonna end up happening is it puts strain and stress on our liver. Our liver's in charge of converting T4 to T3, but now that our liver doesn't have its main fuel source, glucose, now we can't convert enough of our T4 into T3, meaning then pointing up here, I always think hypothalamus because I deal with hypothalamic amenorrhea with my clients, sorry, but now the thyroid down here, now the thyroid doesn't have enough T3, and so it down-regulates the thyroid. The thyroid gland is in charge of your metabolism, your immune system, digestive system, reproductive system, all of that is kind of regulated by your metabolism or your metabolic rate. It's how fast and efficient your body can also just like digest and assimilate and utilize nutrients. So this goes off and everything starts going off, and again, this is why I have a job, is because people do things like restrict their food or over exercise, and then they get to this place of they have very low thyroid, they're in energy debt, they're in a low metabolic state, hair is falling out, they don't have a period, and then they come to me to fix all of that. Speaking of the work that I do, I know that I just don't talk about this a lot on YouTube. It's more just like Instagram where you learn about this. But I know a lot of you guys don't follow me on Instagram. So for all of you YouTube Flow with Chloe channel lovers, just wanted to come here and share with you guys the 2 ways that you can currently work with me. I have a one-on-one container, so one-on-one mentorship where I work with people in a very in-depth, intimate way. And then I also have my course, Get Your Flow On. This is for the woman who is like, I'm ready to heal my relationship with food. I'm ready to get my period back. I'm ready to have a healthy relationship with exercise and body image and all of that. This course and the subsequent recovery community that is attached to the course is a game changer. That's not my words. It's the words literally of like so many of the girls who have been in the course. It's been really amazing to see the transformations happening. I think something that I didn't realize was going to be as powerful as it has been is just this aspect of community with recovery. I think community just in general in life is so important. But then, of course, when you're going through something like ED recovery, that's just like next level, like, oh my gosh, yes, recovery can be a game changer. All those girls there are super supportive of each other. They're friends. They understand, they understand where each other are at. They push each other. They support each other, and it's a really beautiful thing. And a lot of progress has been able to be made. This last summer, so summer 2022, we had so many girls getting their period back. It was ridiculous. It was like, I think getting to like, month, 3 and 4 and 5 of a lot of these girls being in the course, and it was like period, just coming back. And that's because I work on really helping you rewire your relationship with food, or teaching you, I should say, how to actually nourish this body of yours so that you can have strong hair that's not falling out, so that you can have a monthly menstrual cycle. You can't be sleeping well and have good digestion. So I talk a lot about dealing with digestive issues, letting go of calorie counting. I really tried to take everything that I saw people go through in a one-on-one capacity, right? And I put it into the course and I addressed it and put along so many meditations, visualizations, like all those things to actually give you the tools to help you start making these shifts and changes in your little noggin here. So you can go down below and you can click the link to learn more about the course, or you can always just send me a DM or an email. I would love to chat with you about it and see kind of what is going to be the thing that's going to help you get to this place of freedom and health. So that's it for this little interruption. Thanks, guys. And let's go back to Drew Barrymore's pizza fiasco. But anyways, what I was saying though is like, okay, so metabolically, I look at this and I'm like, carbohydrates are essential in this process of making sure your body can convert enough of that T4 to T3 and send it to the thyroid and have enough of this T3 to be circulating around so that we have a good metabolic rate. And we have a good metabolic rate, that's when, we tend to find a balanced weight. So we're not yo-yoing all the time. Our body keeps maintenance. We have good digestion, we have good sleep, we have good hormones, like all of that comes like into balance. We feel good when we're metabolically in balance. And so doing something like very extreme, like eliminating all carbohydrates or taking out all fats, whatever it is that you're doing with your diet, it's like, oh, you gotta really understand how that's going to be impacting your body on a metabolic perspective. So sure, you can do that and then you can lose weight because you're just naturally slashing a lot of calories, but calories aren't the devil, and I talk about that in my course a lot. Like, calories are good. We need calories. You can't live without calories, so let's stop fighting calories and let's understand how beneficial and necessary they are to us. And what was I going to say? And so let's not fear that, and instead let's work on getting our metabolism up so that we can experience health. But anyways, let's take it back to Drew here. Just when she was like, so it's like you're eating a pizza, like this tastes like pizza. I'm like, no, it doesn't. This is the whole, I see this so much in just the diet culture community, where it's instead of having bread for your sandwich, let's use red bell peppers. That's the same. I'm like, no, it's not. I'm sorry, it's not the same as a nice thick slice of sourdough. It's just not the same at all, right? But when your diet, you try and just you're just in this energy of deprivation, and you can start just telling yourself these stories of oh no, but this is great. Back when I was depriving myself, right, and I was eating a raw food vegan diet, I was like, oh wow, I love oil-free, totally raw broccoli salads. I told myself that I loved it because I had this grander agenda of I want to lose weight, I want to lose weight, I want to lose weight, I want to be in control with my food. And so that desire kind of overpowered any lack of taste and lack of pleasure from the food, and I kind of could tell myself that I was liking it. Did I truly like it? Oh my gosh, if I ate that now in a healthy state, I would be bloated for days, and two, just zero pleasure from that, zero. Anyways, I'm trying to think if there's something. Let me rewatch this here. So that's what I hate too, is that she's I know people are going to hate me for doing this. I'm like, yeah, there's a reason for that. You're totally ruining the food. Could you imagine a chef who made that pizza watching you just scrape it all off? But then she goes, and this is a key point here, then she goes, I feel really guilty for doing this. I'm like, ugh. That energy of guilt is really strong and really powerful, and has the ability to completely down-regulate our metabolism. That's the funny thing about diet culture, is that they're all about fear this, fear that, fear this, feel guilty if you eat a chocolate cake, feel guilty if you eat that. I'm like, that is totally the wrong approach. If you want to have a good, strong metabolism, if you want to have a good, strong, healthy system energetically, and that translates to physically, then I can promise you that unleashing a bunch of guilt on yourself for doing whatever it is that you're doing is just going to do the opposite. Guilt is a heavy emotion. It suppresses, it weighs down on us. It's not an emotion of ooh, I feel really free and energetic. It's that's when you're going to feel the best. You are going to feel the best when you step into the state of oh, just love and gratitude and thankfulness. And we understand that, right? This is why people tell you have a gratitude journal. It's so important. I'm yeah, it's because that is an energy of healing, and it's a high vibration, and it's a great just state to be in, right? When we have these feelings of guilt, it brings us down, it energetically weighs us down. How does that not impact our health? And that's what's so wrong about diet culture, is that it's they're just literally, they get you from a place of fear this, fear that, and then feel guilty for doing this. I'm none of those things, this fear and this guilt and this anxiety and this worry, none of that is going to equate to I'm happy, I'm healthy, and feel great. It's the whole lie of diet culture. So ending this video here, I was really unimpressed with Drew's video that she made here of her scraping the pizza off and telling herself oh yeah, this iceberg lettuce salad with a little bit of cheese and vegetables from my scraped off pizza, it tastes just like pizza and is great, and this is how I quote unquote stay in shape. Really unimpressed, and really sad to see that there was 300,000 people who viewed this, and then again, like I said, it got kind of spread out. So I saw on I think she even had it on her page here. It was a Good Morning show here. Yeah, she ended up posting it, where they ended up doing this. I don't see where it is now. And she got on this big it was a Good Morning America type of news station thing, and they had this whole kind of row of people like lined up with their pizzas, scraping it off into their salads, being like, well, this is Drew Barrymore's new like diet thing, right? And I'm just like, if you are someone who has gotten caught into this and sees those type of things and thinks, oh, well, this is what I should be doing and I should be scraping off my pizza, honey, there's a better way to live, and there's a way that you can feel really just calm and peaceful around food while eating all food, and also having like health as a value, right? Like I think a lot of people maybe perceive my stuff as like, oh, she's anti-diet, she's anti-health, she's anti-understanding nutrition. I'm like, no, I'm not. I'm not at all. In fact, I just understand nutrition and health so much that I understand that scraping your toppings off a pizza is never going to give you health, right? Like not the health, not the vibrancy that you were looking for in your life. You can have healthy principles of this is what's going to nourish me, and this is what feels good in my body, and not be obsessive about it and not be extreme about it. That's extreme, right? That's completely extreme. There's a better way to come about health. That's what I teach in my course, Get Your Flow In, and that's how that's what I do in my kind of one-on-one containers with people, is I help them really understand their body, how to work with it, understand the importance of freedom up here and freedom in the body. Really learning how to attune back to pleasure. That's so important. Pleasure is such an important vitamin that so many of us are missing out on, but it's pleasure with wisdom, right? And it's understanding short-term pleasure, long-term pleasure, all of that. There's so many intricacies to someone's relationship with food, which is why watching a YouTube video or following someone on Instagram is a little like incomplete. It's like, oh, there's so much more nuance to that. You're a human being. There's a lot of things that are going on energetically in regards to like your relationship with food and body and exercise and health and what that truly means. There's a lot of intricacies there, which again is why a program or like a course can be really beneficial, and it's kind of the only place where I really can know how to like fully support you guys in this kind of transformation process. So if you're interested in all of that, you can always email me, contact@flowwithchloe@gmail.com, or you can follow me on Instagram @flowwithchloe. Everything's linked down below, and that is it for today's video. I hope you guys liked this one. If you have anything else to say, just drop it in the comment section down below.